Grand day, amazing souls. How are you feeling? Coming to you again with another transmission. As I finished doing my rising rituals, I started hearing. No, I started watching this particular um, YouTube, and I received a message. And I consider myself a deep diver, one of those that firmly believes that if it's something that I really want to know, I want to dive into it. Is a old adage that goes, "The universe reveals its secrets to those who dare to follow their hearts." And I'm one of those. I dare to follow my heart. I dance to the beat of my own drum. And with that being said, let's get to today's transmission. My dad, and I didn't learn this until much, much later, but at his quote unquote funeral, his going home ceremony, as some people will call it, I made a speech and I thought I would be very nervous, but I wanted to say what I needed to say to my dad. That was going to be my last time. And my dad has the master teacher's energy. And, you know, it just amazes me what this world gifts us all. Sometimes we can't see the gifts, right? Especially until it's too late, too late, right? And I remember my dad used to always say to me, and I didn't understand it, right? And I don't even know if he quite understood it. However, 202, he used to say, "Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And I heard this as I was watching this YouTube channel. And basically, how I received it, change your mind, you change your world, right? I thought that I had to change my clothes, that I needed makeup, which I never really wore. I think I wore like eyeshadow or some eyelash stuffy. I don't know, lip gloss maybe. But a lot of individuals think that they need to change their makeup or they need makeup, right? Some of us we think that we need to change our address. I moved 1,000,001 times in my life. I don't even think there's a house or an apartment out there that I haven't lived in. I didn't move so daggone much, right? Thought I had to change my relationships, my family members, change them or change the way that they are, right? I had to realize none of that was going to change, right? And it didn't matter if it did change or not. It didn't matter because if I chose to stay stuck in those same places, in the same cycles, they would just keep repeating themselves in different vessels. Like the karmic relationships, they would change person, but they will remain the same until I learned the lesson. And it's so crazy because just before I jumped on here, I was listening to Dolores Cannon, and she was saying that, when you got to the end and they asked, like, what did you learn? And you say, "Oh, I ain't learned nothing." She said, "Well, what do you think is going to happen?" Right? You're going to come right back and repeat the same challenges to learn the lessons. And believe this, it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter whether it was an apartment, whether it's a relationship, whether it was a teacher, whether it was philosophy. If you didn't learn it, it will repeat. And if you transitioned out of this world, you will come back and it will repeat. Like, you cannot get out of learning the lessons, getting the transmissions, and it's not so much of tests, it's all about what did you get from it? What did you experience from it? I swear, I was on a hamster's wheel, right? And I remember living with my sister, and I swear, And I don't even know if I ever seen this movie, but I felt like it was Groundhog's Day. And my spirit took me back to the movie, and I went back and watched it, and I was like, whoa, this is exactly how my life is feeling. And this was about, I think, 2019, 2018, 2019. And it was then that I knew that I had to change something. Something had to give. I didn't need a television set to see the programming, right? It was playing out in real life. Like I said, the hamster wheel, Groundhog Day, it was playing out. Whoa, it is a hawk sitting in a tree in front of me. Goodness, I look, yo, I don't know if y'all can see this. I can't even zoom in. Oh my gosh, it's right here, y'all. Y'all see it? It's just sitting there. Wow. It wasn't until I turned the volume down, closed these two carnal eyes. I just had to allow my nose to smell the bullshit. This Taurus energy within me, I have a great sense of smell. And I can just sniff out the bullshit, right? For my Tauruses out there, y'all know. If y'all know, y'all know, right? Along with smelling the BS, I had to allow my gut to sync with all of my other senses. I allowed every teardrop to be transformative, every one. And I remember, when I used to cry, I remember that Jesus cried for a reason. And I always wondered, like, what was that reason? And it hit me one day, and I was like, I just let my tears flow after that. I stopped holding in that pain. I stopped holding in that trauma, right? And as I started allowing my gut to sync with the rest of me, I started breathing. Let me tell y'all, I was so desensitized from the loud noises growing up in the streets of Baltimore in such a chaotic environment that I didn't want to feel. I didn't want to. It was painful to feel, right? I thought chaos, insensitivity, anger, and reaction was reality. I thought this was the norm. I thought this is how people were supposed to respond. I was lied to. I was like, my environment lied to me. The people that brought me into this world lied to me. The programming, they lied to me. The church, they lied to me. Everything and everyone lied to me. And then I started lying to myself. Dun, dun, dun. But everything started changing for me the moment I allowed myself to dream. The moment I let go and allowed my imagination to take over for just a few moments. Just a few moments. And then I began wanting more and more and more and more. And I became addicted. For once in my life, I became addicted to something that was natural, something that was God, something that Source said yes to. Source was like, go get some more. Go get some more. Go get some more. Use discernment and balance, but go get some more. Right? It wasn't until I decided that I needed something else that the world began changing. My world began changing and evolving. And that is when I began living, right? And even though I'm still in a place in a space where growth is necessary, that I can definitely afford more growth. I'm in a place in a space today where life is pretty amazing. And let me say this, y'all, because I don't want y'all to think that, oh, her life is so perfect and oh, she get on here. No, no. Let me tell you, just the other day, about 3 or 4 days ago, I had a breakdown. I mean, I was in such a low space, and my thoughts went very low to a place that I did not appreciate it going. And I allowed myself to sit in that for a few. I did. I did. Because I've been transmuting these particular energies for a while. And I needed that. You know, there's no good without bad. There's no high without low. And sometimes we have to go low in order to go back up. And when we go low, we go higher than we were. So I just want to let y'all know it's okay. And I'm not a perfect person. I don't proclaim to be. I just come to give you a different perspective, right? It's all love. It's all love. But in that moment of being low, and I allowed myself to be there for some hours, it wasn't even a whole day. I stopped and I said, whoa, wait a minute. What the hell is going on here? And I asked myself, how long are you going to allow yourself to be in this place, this space, in this state of being? And I quickly snapped out of it. I was back to normal like nothing ever happened. But I allowed myself to be there, to honor that. The source said I needed that. So I took advantage of that energy, 1144. And with that being said, I love you. If you haven't heard it today, I love you. I love me. I love us. I love we. Look, be like a hawk. See things from a bird's eye view. Peace.